This Mesa Boogie 5-band EQ pedal has become an integral part of my setup for Nirvana tones. This is the official pedal version of the graphic EQ section of the Mesa Boogie Studio Pre. From mid-1990 up until their last show, Kurt Cobain exclusively used the Studio Pre live for his clean tone. I've seen some say that the Studio Pre is like the quintessential Kurt Cobain amp because of this, and I don't blame that train of thought. This EQ pedal really changed the game for me when it comes to Nirvana tones, and I really regret not looking into it sooner. Just a few months ago, I had a scare where this thing died on me. I powered on my pedal board, and this pedal was not only not turning on at all, it was killing my signal completely. These things have gotten stupid expensive because they were so limited when they were available, so I started to panic. I contacted Mesa Boogie directly and sent it in to get repaired. I have never sent a piece of gear into a manufacturer before for a repair, so I had no idea what to expect. But their communication was phenomenal, the pricing was very fair, and about a month later, my EQ pedal was back and has been fully functional ever since. So, shout out to Mesa Boogie for being so awesome with their repairs. But while this pedal was in the mail getting sent to them, I had this fear that they would receive it and they would get back to me and say, sorry, this pedal is really dead for good and there's nothing we can do to repair it. And for a long time now, a lot of viewers have been requesting that I look at the Ibanez Pentatone EQ pedal. So I figured now was the perfect time to get one as a potential replacement for my Mesa Boogie EQ. The Pentatone EQ is an extremely powerful and precise 5-band EQ pedal. On paper, it is the perfect alternative to the Mesa EQ as it has 5 bands. And with each band, you have the ability to sweep and pick which frequency you are adjusting. You are even able to adjust the Q of each band. If you are not familiar with adjusting EQ, the Q band refers to the quality factor. This determines the width of the frequency that's being boosted or cut. Turning the knob all the way to the right gives you a high Q, a narrow and sharp curve that affects very few frequencies. So this is ideal for precise surgical fixes, like removing harsh or unpleasant frequencies. Turning the knob all the way to the left, on the other hand, gives you a low Q, a wide, gentle slope that affects a wide range of frequencies to give you a more natural sounding end result. So there is a lot to this pedal. You have the ability to boost and cut across a really large range and width of frequencies. I don't see this as a plug-and-play pedal. This is something you need to sit down with and really hone in on which frequencies you are trying to adjust and how drastically you are trying to adjust them. This pedal has become a permanent fixture on my personal pedal board. I specifically tuned it to my Fender Mustang with the Seymour Duncan JB, going into the FT Electronica Saint amp into my Fender Twin Reverb, and the result is pretty amazing in my opinion. This thing makes a world of difference, doesn't it? But this is a rather dangerous pedal because just as easily as you can improve your sound, you can also accidentally ruin it, especially if this is your first time ever using a graphic EQ pedal. There's a learning curve with pedals like this. You have to be really specific and precise about which frequencies you are adjusting because the results you get can easily go both ways. So now that we've gone through what this pedal can do and how it does it, let's get to the main event and now compare it head to head to the Mesa Boogie 5-band EQ pedal. Maybe this is a coincidence, or maybe it's not on Ibanez's behalf. But if you leave all the frequency knobs at noon, you're already really close to adjusting the same exact frequencies the Mesa EQ is famous for. In my opinion, what gets tricky is trying to determine the width of the Q for each band. I can't help but think that however Mesa set their Qs is the secret sauce behind their iconic 5-band EQs. So now I'm going to put my personal pedal board away and move over to my Nirvana tone recreation setup to see how the Ibanez EQ stacks up against the Mesa Boogie EQ when trying to recreate some of Kurt's most iconic live tones. I'm going to make these two go head to head for what are probably the three most sought after live Nirvana tones. Live at the Paramount, live at Reading 92, and the In Utero tour. For this shootout, my amp will be the Nirvana Paramount Tube preamp pedal, which is their clone of the clean section of the Mesa Boogie Studio Pre. The only thing this pedal is missing is the EQ section. That is going into both EQ pedals, which is then going into my Moyer Cab X2 IR loader pedal. Before you hear the EQ pedals, you're going to hear a quick clean reference. And during that, the guitar, pickup, and IRs being used will be listed on the screen. It'll then be all about the EQ pedals when they turn on. I have tried my best to get both of these EQ pedals to match each other as close as possible for each example. So, when it comes to Nirvana tones, is the Ibanez Pentatone the answer to the Mesa Boogie 5-band EQ? So when I was trying to dial in the Ibanez to match the Mesa, I was doing so with clean tones. The Ibanez gets it pretty dead on, enough for me to comfortably say that yes, this pedal definitely does the job for Nirvana tones. I do hear a really subtle difference in the low end specifically. I'm not entirely sure if this is like the best way to put it, but with the Mesa EQ, I feel like the low end is really evenly distributed, where on the Ibanez, I can't get the low end to match that nice clean distribution no matter how I set the Q. That's not to say the low end on the Ibanez is bad. It's obviously amazing. It just feels very upfront and centered, where on the Mesa, I feel like it's spread out really nicely. But with having these two side by side and A-Bing them, to me, everything sounds nearly identical except for these low lows. So for my conclusion, I do see the Ibanez being as the ideal alternative to the Mesa EQ pedal. With the Mesa being so limited and so expensive now, the Ibanez is able to take its place thanks to the ability to sweep and adjust the same frequencies. But if we set Nirvana tones aside, the Pentatone objectively is the much better and more versatile EQ pedal overall. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're chasing Nirvana tones, are you going to specifically look for the Mesa EQ that's much more rare and expensive now? Or would you rather go for the objectively more versatile and more readily available Ibanez EQ? Thank you so much for watching, and an extra special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nirvana Guitars. Subscribe right here on YouTube for more weekly gear videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.